Hey guys, finally back with an HD picture, and there's so much to talk to. Finally have a great phone, great technology. Want to congratulate my friends and fans from Athens and from Georgia that like the Georgia Bulldogs, even people outside of the state that like the Georgia Bulldogs. Congratulations on an epic win in what was one of the greatest games in college football history today, Bruce. And Baker Mayfield and the Sooners could not get it done today. Had plenty of opportunities actually there towards the end. A heroic drive to tie the football game after a 24-0 surge through the third quarter by the Georgia Bulldogs. Heck of a second half adjustment by Kirby Smart there, really using stunts, playing tough man coverage, being a lot more disciplined in the run game. The stage seemed too big for the Georgia Bulldogs and their defense, but in the second half, they knuckled down, and it was a great game, Cullen. It was, I believe, 48-45. No,
I think it was 54-48, something like that.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't have to take the extra point.
You're right.
It was like 54-48.
Right.
It was an epic game. It was double overtime.
6 points.
6 point win
points.
by the Bulldogs.
Yep.
And in my opinion, firstly, Baker Mayfield in the first half showed all of his razzle and dazzle. Anderson ran beautifully, but the 24 points were led by a record performance by Sony Michel and Nick Chubb, the two running backs for the Georgia Bulldogs, who set a record of combined running yards for a Rose Bowl, and the Rose Bowl's been around for a really, really long time. So I think you guys will agree, what we were treated to in game one was one of the best college football games I have ever seen. To see Baker Mayfield in his last game as a field general, to see the running, the coaching, full packed stadium. Those both teams traveled well. You had Sooners and Bulldogs fans completely packed the Rose Bowl in beautiful Pasadena, California. What a game. Your thoughts on the game, Spence?
Really, really special game, that I just saw from Georgia and Oklahoma. And the real thing about the game was, Lincoln Riley in the first half was dialing it up. I mean, you saw Anderson sneaking out of the backfield. You saw, that kid Lamb get involved in the game a lot. You saw Brown get involved in the game.
That's Hollywood Brown?
Hollywood Brown. He even had that
number
big catch.
9.
Mark Andrews was getting open, and Georgia made a lot of second half adjustments.
Future NFL tight end Mark Andrews.
They rushed fewer guys in the second half. They only rushed 4 guys, which, oh my God, what a wrap up and bring down there by Duran Hand there. I think it's actually, I might have gotten his name wrong. I know it's Hand, but what I was going to say is, Jake Fromm, was very impressive.
We might have given up on
poised.
Clemson, so that was a question. Have we given up on Clemson?
Very poised.
Would we say we've given up on them? I'd say kind of hell yeah. I think Bama will win this game.
I think
but
that's
why they play the games.
This is one of the best performances I've seen in the Saban era from Alabama tonight. I am so impressed.
I think that this
by
lead
Jeremy
is
Pruitt and this defense.
insurmountable, but we'll see if
this is one of the great performances.
Clemson is a great team with Dabo Swinney.
Look at this. Is it a pick? That's so funny. Alabama doesn't give you an inch. You can learn a lot from watching Alabama. They're a very inspirational team. And you know what else was inspirational? When Georgia, Sony Michel, and Nick Chubb, Sony Michel had that run in the first half, I believe a 70-yard run. Nick Chubb had that 50-yard run after that terrible field goal. And, what I was going to say, Bruce, is the way that Chubb and Michelle just broke open the game with their runs. You can't give up runs like that, and expect to really win a football game. And also, Roquan Smith was incredible. That kid number 52, Clark, had the game of his life. I've never seen him making plays like that. Him and Ledbetter were getting home in the second half. And just looking at Georgia, man, it's the best defense. It's the best tandem of running backs that I've seen in such a long time. It's a freshman that plays beyond his years, that doesn't make mistakes, that was very Greg McElroy-ish, A.J. McCarron-ish.
An interesting comment. Alabama is the Patriots of the college football. They get whatever they want. Well, I think they earn whatever they want.
Not really. They don't have a quarterback the quality of Tom Brady, and I
guess they have a coach the quality of Bill Belichick and Nick Saban.
Yes,
they have a defense.
A friend of Bill Belichick.
The defense is actually better than the Patriots. It's Well, the Dogs at Bama have the two best
And
defenses in football.
they recruit like crazy, and it's all Nick Saban. I mean, before Nick Saban was there,
There's a cat crying in the background.
I know
Oklahoma could not handle 250-pound missiles
and all these other guys
flying down the middle. Ohio State should have gotten over them.
Yep, sure. No
Well,
way.
I don't think so.
No.
Look at how Alabama's playing.
No.
Remember what happened when Ohio State played Clemson
Ohio
last
State,
year?
yeah.
What happened last year?
You had your shot last year.
But what happened? Did they get completely
Did they
skewered?
score? Did they score any points?
Not many.
How many?
Score any?
Did they score any?
0?
Yeah, I think so.
So remember last year, Clemson completely filleted Ohio State.
Exactly.
Took the Buckeyes right off
You know
the
who
helmet.
else filleted them? A team by the name of the Iowa Hawkeyes.
The Iowa Hawkeyes at home.
The freaking
That was the
Iowa
dagger.
Hawkeyes.
Is that the dagger?
Iowa Hawkeyes can't score versus anybody, and they dropped 51 on Greg Schiano, and Tennessee's like, I don't want Greg Schiano.
I'm an Oregon fan, so I know I should be
You
talking.
can be talking.
You're allowed to
You're
talk.
allowed to talk. I mean, it sucks that Willie Taggart had to leave. Oregon, Marcus Mariota, Justin Herbert. You guys have a history of amazing running backs like Garrett Blunt, LaMichael James. I mean, Oregon.
Even
is
Kenya Barner.
Yeah.
The great kick returner for the Philadelphia Eagles, the 13-3 Eagles, who are rumbling, stumbling, and falling down, basically gasping into the playoffs with one Nicky six-pack Foles.
Do you guys think Shaw is going to the NFL?
That's an interesting question. I know that you predicted Shaw would be on the short list for the New York Giants. Do you still believe that?
It's looking like it's going to head in the direction of either a Patriots, assistant coach, or it is going to be Jim Schwartz. And so right now, Shaw's name is not getting out there.
But
now,
Josh McDaniels, will he be interviewed? Will the Giants interview Josh McDaniels?
Yes, they are going to this Tuesday.
And for the Rooney Rule, they have to, by law, interview an African American. I think that's a good rule.
Is that true?
That is a true rule. You have to, for every vacancy, there has to be minority candidate. I think it's African American, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's why
Minority
Riddick was in there. So I get ones if you like your guy.
You still have to interview a minority
What
candidate.
about
That's
the Raiders?
Rooney Rule.
What about the Raiders?
They still have to abide by the Rooney Rule. You notice they haven't announced John Gruden as their head coach yet? The old Rooney Rule.
So Steve, maybe
they aren't Rooney. Rest
interview
in
Marvin
peace.
Lewis or Caldwell. Just get Caldwell on a flight. Say
get
who's
him a
closer,
nice dinner. Get him a
Lewis
nice steak
or
dinner.
Who's closer, Lewis or Caldwell? Or maybe is there a coach in the Northeast that you could get for that rule? Yeah, I understand that rule because you want more African American coaches.
How about our boy, the defensive backs coach,
David Merrick.
David Merrick is already in-house. Let him interview. Why not?
I think Steve Wilkes will be a very good coach. I look at Mike Tomlin, so there's clearly a lot of good coaches that aren't just white.
There's some great minority coaches.
Yeah, great minority coaches. I don't
and
know
Tony
if there's
Dungy. Tony Dungy's one of my favorites. I'd love to see him come out of the announcing booth. Tony Dungy is one of the few coaches who's ever coached a team that does not cuss or curse or use bad words. He's a God-fearing man, good old boy, and he's one of our favorite guys. We love Tony Dungy.
I love Tony too, man.
Would you take him as a coach for the Giants? Think his time has passed, or would
he's
you
such
take
a nice guy.
Too nice?
Maybe too nice. I don't know. I just look at Tony, and he's just relaxing right now in the NBC booth in New York City. He seems like his gig. I think Tony had a great time with Peyton Manning. I think he's a decent head coach, but I would prefer to go after David Shaw or Nick Saban, these college guys, but I don't think they're going to do that. I would actually prefer Matt Patricia. I think Patricia's an interesting
Patricia
choice.
is an interesting profile. For all you Rovers out there, Matt Patricia is the longtime defensive coordinator for the New England Patriots. He's got a very interesting background. He's an MIT graduate. He's actually a nuclear physicist, a very smart guy. Mm-hmm. But you look at him, he looks kind of like a Neanderthal. He hasn't shaved his beard in about 5 years. And, essentially you don't hear him interviewed very often. I'm not sure I could see Matt Patricia as the face of a franchise, although he certainly would be the brains of the franchise.
No, you're absolutely right. And the way that he has resurrected this defense, that brought in Gilmore and all these different types of players, Bruce, into the fold. They had their really good linebacker go down earlier in the season, as it looks like Jalen's going to court this one down the field. And that seems like a really good catch on a poorly thrown ball.
No, it's actually a Trapped ball. It hit the ground.
Robert
He did not complete the catch.
Not complete the process.
Nick Saban looking pretty confident there.
Yeah, this is not a good
Let's
throw.
see this.
He is wide open. So.
That is a bad catch.
Well, that's not a good
It's a non-catch.
Are you guys shocked that Bruce Arians retired? Great question.
Great question.
Very
You answer first.
Very topical.
Very topical. You want me to answer first?
Yeah.
I'm not shocked. Bruce Arians has had his health problems. He was hospitalized with chest pain. I believe he also had a cancer that was cured. He has, you know what occurred to Bruce that was very interesting? Number one, Bruce Arians is a very stoic guy, but he tearfully announced his resignation from the Arizona Cardinals. And you know what really hit him hard? The fact that his son just turned 40 years old and that he's lost those years. And Bruce Arians says, I want to spend time with family. So 65 years old, a great coach. I remember him, very interesting. He was actually 30 years old when he coached. I'm sorry?
I just want to center it a little bit for these
Okay,
guys.
well, I'm in the middle. It's distracting to me when you
Go
do
ahead.
that. So, as I started to say, Bruce Arians was actually 30 years old when he was the head coach of the Temple Owls right here in Philadelphia for 6 years. Then he took 15 years off of coaching, 15 years, before he came back as a coordinator for the Cardinals. So essentially, he came back at almost age 60 and then was a head coach for 5 years. He's now 65. So, am I surprised? I'm a little bit saddened because I think Arians is one of the personalities of the league in the sense he's a strong guy, a good tactician, a defensive coordinator type.
Yeah.
But Arizona's going to move in a different direction. Are you surprised?
Yeah, I'm surprised because he was very snippy with a reporter when asked about this question 2 weeks ago. He said, I'm not retiring until they take me out of this place. So for him to be that snippy to that reporter was just really...
It's okay. I kind of like
really
snippiness.
Nasty. Really
That's
nasty
okay.
of Bruce Arians to kind of mislead everybody. So yes, I'm surprised. There was no report from Bruce Arians that he was, that this was going to happen. Everybody speculated, and it actually happened. Usually people speculate and nothing happens, like John Gruden every single year. Usually stuff is all hot air and no substance. This actually had some substance to it. And for Bruce Arians, I mean, what a great career. Mentoring Ben, mentoring Peyton Manning, winning Super Bowls, with the Colts, I believe. And also Bruce Arians, if they would have kept him in Indianapolis, that would have been a better hire. When he took the Arizona Cardinals, he made them relevant with Carson Palmer. And he really had a couple of good seasons with their team. He drafted really, really well. I mean, that franchise is still in really good positionings because you kept Fitzgerald, you got a John Brown, an undrafted kid from Pittsburgh State, David Johnson from Northern Iowa, so you're getting Division II kids to be successful, and then Honey Badger. No one took Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu, because they thought that he was just addicted to weed, that he was a terrible guy because he smoked cannabis, and instead, Honey Badger not only is a great player, but he's an incredible citizen for that team and for that culture and everything.
Certainly turned things around.
And Patrick Peterson, I mean, that LSU secondary, that's why I look at that defensive coordinator. And when you have Chandler Jones, when you have Carlos Dansby, when you have Buffet and that much talent on the defensive side of the football, for you to not be producing is just awful. And then I look at Carson Palmer.
Look at this play by Jalen
Then
Hurts.
I look at Carson Palmer, and Bruce, he hasn't been
Incredible
the guy that
first
he
down.
needed to be.
First down
that
time.
Arizona Cardinals job's a great job. Scottsdale's a great place. The owner, I don't recall his name. Bidwell, very good. Michael Bidwell, who flies private jets. He is one slick, good person. Great family man, great person. That is a very attractive job right now. The only reason why it's not attractive is, guess what? It's the toughest division in all of football. You have Garoppolo, you have Shanahan, you have the best coach you have the second best coach, I think, in the entire league, in Sean McVay, who is a miracle man.
I see him as
and then
coach
you have
of the
the
year.
Seahawks.
He's a lock for coach of the year, don't you think?
That job in the NFC West, that's a damn tough job, though, I'll say. That's a tough division.
Who do you see sliding into that spot? Any early rumors?
Well, they are going to be interviewing the Patriots guys, and like the one thing about Arizona,
They'll interview McDaniels and probably Patricia.
well, I know Patricia,
and of course the obligatory Rooney Rule person,
Rooney Rule,
whoever that person is.
I look at Arizona, and I could see them going with maybe like a coordinator, like that coordinator from Tampa Bay is pretty damn good. Terrell Austin's a possibility. I'm thinking who has Arizona ties, but also that general manager. We're going to have to see if
David
Steve
Shaw
stays around.
Is David
so.
Shaw going to say? Is there a comment? Let's read it.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's about Mitchell Trubisky and the Chicago Bears. That's the type of question that is now being
John
asked.
Fox, of course, has been fired after 4 very forgettable years.
3.
Oh, 3.
Yeah.
Seemed like 4 years.
It did.
3 years. He also set the record for the most losses in 3 years.
And we'll get to that question after.
We'll get to that question. Just
try to
fire away.
remember.
We're here on YouTube. We are Rover Sports. I'm Bruce, the Sports Doc. Spencer G from the Philly studios right here in beautiful Fridge in Philadelphia where it's 10 degrees.
10 degrees.
With a wind chill of 0
The car,
degrees.
the tires are getting stuck on your car. It's just a day where you want to stay
Or
inside.
your tongue is getting stuck on the ski lift, just like Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
My favorite movie.
These are all great questions. That's part of what's great
keep
with being
firing
on
away.
YouTube
Fire
and
away,
part of
Spencer.
what's great about a subscriber
Spencer,
base.
that's
so
great.
the first question is Ryan Pace. So that's the GM of the Bears. I am not sold on Trubisky. However, Ryan Pace had a very good draft. Tariq Cohen, Adam Shaheen, and Eddie Jackson are all big-time hits that are contributing. Leonard Floyd is contributing. So, you look at the Chicago Bears and Mitchell Trubisky, I think Jack Del Rio is going to be a name that is going to be very popular because he led Oakland to a playoff spot.
And the only reason he got rejected is to make way for the golden-haired child himself, John Gruden, who allegedly has been offered $10 million a year and an ownership stake in the Las Vegas Raiders.
Vegas, cocaine, strippers, everything. And John Gruden. So I think
very defamatory.
If you're a Raider fan,
I'm sure John wouldn't be happy to be in that sentence. But I guess if we use the word, if we're referring to the hangover now, crazy stuff.
If you're a Raider fan, man, unless you live in Oakland, it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean,
a lot of that same stuff is in Oakland.
I love John
too,
Gruden. They treated him raw.
It's more expensive. They actually offer the same things in Oakland, just more expensive.
You know what? John Gruden got a raw deal the first time around from Al Davis when he traded him.
Al Davis is not around anymore. May he rest in peace. And instead, you have his son, Mark Davis, who apparently is going to pull out all the stops to sign the Grudenator. And what a combination that will be. The Grudenator in Vegas, that's a show.
Yeah.
That'll be a show.
I can't wait. It's going to be a ton of fun. And listen, I think that
give people a little update. So I'm sure all of you are watching this route, and there is a replay of the big boy.
It's going to be an all-SEC title game. Oh, man, what is going on, Bo? How are you, my friend?
How you doing? Nice to see you,
man.
Here at Rover.
Guess what tonight's the night of? Tonight's the night of the final Jimmy Garoppolo video. So, guys, get excited.
Get ready for a late night.
In a little bit, I'm going to go dive into Jimmy versus the LA Rams and the final film review. And then also, I got another special film review.
How about a Baker Mayfield final game film review, accenting all of his skills and his arm talent and all that stuff?
It's tough to get college film. You can't get it in the same way that you can get NFL film. So
we'll try to get it though.
We're gonna do a lot of.
We might have to bootleg it. We might bring it in through the southern border, the border that's still open.
Kevin's rooting for a Georgia win in the championship game. I think it's great. It is apprentice and master. Nick Saban, the master. Kirby, the apprentice. Nick Saban usually beats his assistants to a pulp.
I think he always does. But I think he's always beaten his assistants.
Yes,
I don't think there's an exception.
Oh, yeah, thanks. The Eli Manning question. Where will Eli go? What's going on with Eli Manning?
Your thoughts? Well, Dave Gettleman is the new general manager for the Giants. A hard-nosed kind of guy, an experienced guy, not a particularly young player. Young manager, very much of a retired player. But I would say that Eli is staying right there in New York to mentor the chosen one, who will be the number 2 pick, Mr. Josh Rosen from the UCLA Bruins. I believe that the Browns will avert embarrassment and disaster and not pick Josh Rosen, because Josh has already signaled his intention to bypass the NFL and re-enroll at UCLA should he be picked by the woeful, winless Cleveland Browns.
Completely agree. It is time for the Giants to select Rosen, load up that room, let Rosen and Webb go at it, and let Eli Manning be the guy that teaches these guys and passes the torch to these guys. Let Eli start next year, see what you can do, see if you can catch lightning in a bottle, and yeah, I think that fading comment is that Steve Wilkes is also, that's going to be the African American that they're going to look at for that Rooney Rule. You might have mentioned it right there in the comments. I'm not in love with Saquon Barkley. I would not pick Saquon Barkley that early. Running back's a position where you can draft an Alvin Kamara or a Tariq Cohen in the 4th round and be okay. Or even Kareem Hunt. These are all 4th round running backs. Jordan Howard is a 5th round running back. It's not like Saquon Barkley is a good running back, but do we think he's a transcendent player? And also Carlos Hyde is about one of the most loyal Niners. I love Carlos Hyde saying that they're going to win a championship. I'm pretty attached to Carlos Hyde's game. Terrible. Minkah Fitzpatrick will be waiting for you. You take Minkah Fitzpatrick when you can, or you look at maybe a Calvin Ridley. If you pair Ridley with Marquise Goodwin, that would be great. Yes, Saquon Barkley, though, is a very, very good player. He can jump over defenders, but Darius Geis, I think, can be just as good as Saquon Barkley. And listen,
we saw 2 great running backs tonight.
We'll have to see Barkley and how he does in the combine.
Sony Michel.
Let's see him go to Indianapolis and do it.
Here's the question.
What?
Are either one of those guys draft eligible? Sony Michel
Yeah, they're both seniors. They are both long gone.
They're long gone?
They're in the NFL next year for sure. I think a team should draft both of those guys.
I think they're both good. I think Michel is a speed back. Chubb is kind of a power back.
Yeah.
So that's a great
Chubb,
those
I'm
guys.
trying to think who Nick Chubb kind of runs like. Nick Chubb is small, though. Like an Ahmad
Is he really
Bradshaw
small? He doesn't look
kind
that
of
small to
type,
me.
so. I don't want Josh Gordon on the Niners either. I mean, the Niners have such a good thing going. You don't want to bring in.
I don't think you want to bring a guy like that who's only one. He's one spleef away from suspension.
That's way too much personality, Bruce. The Niners, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, man. You just won 5 games to finish the end of the year. I mean, why do you really want to, and Roquan is a senior. He's going too. That's a reliable guy. But you look at
Roquan Smith.
Yeah, Roquan Smith.
What a tremendous linebacker.
Yeah,
He'd be great. Roquan would be a great
Josh
draft
Gordon,
for you Niners fans.
I mean, I'm sure Niner fans are scarred by Aldon Smith. I mean, you don't want to bring in, and I'm not comparing Josh to what Aldon did. Like, Aldon was driving cars, doing that kind of crap. Josh Gordon is a more innocent character than Aldon is, but, you just don't need that.
Josh Gordon's had so many suspensions and reprieves. Yeah. You just don't want to have that distraction.
It's more of a sad story than, and all this.
He's not a bad person. The only person he hurt was himself.
Right.
He's had an addiction problem.
Roquan and Ruben. Oh, my God.
Roquan and Ruben.
Yeah, if Brock Boyle leaves, that would be, oh, my God. Could you imagine that? Now, that's something I could get behind.
Now, that would be powerful. Those guys would be great.
So powerful.
That'd be a great tandem for like 10 years.
Oh, my God. I love the linebackers, man. I mean, you look at the Niners and what they've done. I mean, the linebackers.
You Niners fan, look at the shirt.
Patrick Willis.
Look at that. Strength in numbers. That's a Warriors championship shirt procured. Hard to say the word. Procured at the Oracle.
But, Bruce, you know what I really want to see? Exactly, Willis and Bowman. You know what I really want to see, Bruce, is Eli Manning. I want to see Josh Rosen, Eli, and Davis Webb all together. And then Steve Wilkes of the Carolina Panthers. I like that guy a lot. I like Steve Wilkes. So, I don't know, Bruce. I just don't. If Nick Saban stays at Alabama, I guess he will. There's not that many good. There's not many good coaching candidates out there. I would have loved to get John.
You like
Gruden. David
Shaw from the Stanford Cardinal.
Yes, I do.
Looking at the college ranks, do you see anybody else?
Saban.
I just don't see Saban leaving Alabama. He's got it too good there.
Lincoln Riley isn't going to leave, right?
No, Lincoln Riley's very happy. I mean, he had a great year,
Yeah.
albeit tensed up a little bit, as we said in the game against the Bulldogs. Conservative play calling doomed them in the second overtime.
Would you look at Wolken?
Here we go. Comment?
Would you look at Wolken? Yeah. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it. Kevin's asking about Josh Allen. That's a very intriguing prospect
From Wyoming. Josh Allen, kind of a guy you don't see a lot of. A little bit Carson Wentzian in that he's good. He's got a lot of measurables, but he played for a team in Wyoming, so you don't really know. So what's the rumors on him? Is he a first-round pick or not?
Absolutely. He's going to be a top 10 pick.
Top 10 pick? Okay.
Yeah, he's going to be a top 10 pick in the draft. And the thing I look about Josh Allen, Bruce, he needs to be coached up. I mean, this is a guy that can continue with his eye manipulation. He needs a good offensive line. He needs a system. You know what Josh Allen needs? Josh Allen needs a system where he can, he needs a very easy system to get, like Carson Wentz, not too complicated, and also he's a big time thrower. So he's he's a play action thrower.
Not a Bill O'Brien.
He's not a
probably not a Bill O'Brien system,
or not a Kyle Shanahan system. He's not a let's throw it 35 times type of guy. He's like a Joe Flacco type of let's take deep shots with the guy and let's let him get outside the pocket.
Maybe a good Ravens.
He's a very good.
Might be a good Ravens.
He's a cold weather quarterback. Like he'd be a great cold weather quarterback. He has the biggest arm in this draft, along with Drew Lock. I think the guy can be a success, but I look at Baker Mayfield. I think like there's some guys that are in the draft that, wherever you put them, they're going to be good. Like Josh Rosen's like a Matt Ryan to me. Like Josh Rosen's like a lock. I look at
be good like an Andrew Luck.
Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's game's going to translate wherever he goes because he's so deadly accurate and his feet are so fast and he just knows throwing angles so well. But Josh Allen's so raw that if he goes to the wrong place like a Cleveland Browns, his career will die. So.
You see, maybe Denver Broncos, maybe John Elway.
I like
obviously
that.
won't be coaching, but be mentoring him.
Great spot.
I think Denver would be a great landing spot for Josh Allen.
Great
West
spot.
Coast guy.
Tradition, stable ownership, and Laramie is only 2 hours from Denver. So
Laramie Tunsil, you mean?
No, Laramie, Wyoming.
Never mind. Of face mask fame.
Smoking weed.
Smoking weed through a face mask. That's Laramie Tunsil.
Smoking some weed.
Taking Mama getting paid off from the University of
weed.
Is that Ole Miss? Where was he?
Yep, Ole Miss. Smoking big old gas
Smoking
mask.
a big old gas mask. Getting paid off. Mama, her rent being paid.
Yep.
There by you
free. By party.
You freeze.
You freeze.
These church
hookers
going, you
and money.
hookers in church. The password is, of course, church.
And hookers.
Here's
the thing about
boats and hose. If you're Hugh Freeze, he likes two things. Boats and hose. Going back to our favorite movie, Step Brothers. What's the best line in that movie?
Barney, what did he say?
The wrong kid died.
What? The wrong kid
Step
died? That's Dewey Cox.
That's Dewey Cox? I'm sorry, Dewey Cox. The wrong kid died.
Derek D-bag.
Derek,
you puff a dough back. What I was going to say is...
Getting back to sports, that was just our little soiree into pop culture.
That uncle spewed out Laramie Tunsil, too. That uncle was kind of a dirtbag to Laramie. Remember, the uncle was pissed off, so he's like, screw you, I'm going to send out this vid.
I know.
And
he kind of sent that out like a little Scud missile.
But guess what? The Dolphins are the big winner. Laramie Tunsil's a really good football player.
He is a good football player.
Bruce, I want to talk to
you.
They
got him for next to nothing.
Let's talk about the third down calls tonight from Oklahoma, okay? The Oklahoma had a chance to win the game, so I'm going to talk about this, okay?
Yep.
Third down, they're winning the game after the amazing punt return or after the amazing sack fumble, okay? Do you remember that?
Of course I do.
So they're winning the game. Baker Mayfield has an incredible, legendary drive to tie the game, and then Oklahoma gets that play, and then OU gets the football back. You need to salt the game away there. You need to run the football, and on 3rd and 2, they ran that option pitch, and that was a ridiculously.
Was that the second down play?
I just didn't like that.
The second down play was a second down play.
No, it was third down.
Option pitch. You mean where he didn't have any separation and the guy got caught?
Yeah, that was a third down. And
okay.
then also 3rd and 2, they run that fullback throw we alluded to earlier, and then in overtime, they never took a shot to the end zone. Baker Mayfield
is a gunslinger, a gun shooter.
Yes,
but
he's a top 15. He's just a warrior.
Coach Lincoln Riley,
I love Baker Mayfield.
Coach Riley, as much as we love him, he tightened up at the end of the game.
He did.
Play calling in overtime was conservative.
Not to lose.
It was what we called the prevent offense, prevented them from winning the game.
Yeah.
Didn't use your best weapon in Baker Mayfield.
Right. And listen, the Oklahoma Sooners and Baker Mayfield, they really can be proud of themselves. Baker's a top 15 guy of all time, 3 Big 12 titles. Very decorated career, one of the most efficient passers ever, complete warrior, and I think his game will easily translate to the next level. So, but Georgia, they hung in there. It was a great back and forth, clutch kicks all around, and those 2 running backs killed it. The defense finally came alive for Georgia, just too tough in the trenches, and that's what wins games is trenches. And Kirby Smart, he is the next Nick Saban. He is the next Dabo. He's building a dynasty in Athens, and he's keeping all that talent in the state of Georgia home. So, abso-freaking-lutely. So, Patty Mahomes. Actually, I don't think Pat was there yet, but Davis Webb did beat out Baker Mayfield, and Cliff sent him to the curb, kind of. Cliff was a little bit of a kind of a prick to Baker Mayfield, and also, Gary Patterson also does not like James Mayfield, Baker's dad, either. So, anyway, Bruce, I think that we're going to let these guys head out. It was a lot of fun, a lot of good
Thanks so much. A lot of good conversation.
Last 45 seconds, Bruce.
Okay, last 45 seconds. To give you an update, with just over 10 minutes to play the 4th quarter, in more of a snooze fest than the first game, which was epic, the Alabama Crimson Tide is rolling over the Clemson Tigers, 24-6, as we go to break. So I want to thank everybody. We are Rover Sports. We are Philly. On Wednesday night, you can catch us on ESPN on the TuneIn Radio app from 7 to 8 o'clock, and that will be here in Philly.
Sure. Thanks for the questions. Fire in anything you guys
Yes,
want.
Final questions.
Any questions.
Thanks for the compliments. Also, we want to thank all of our San Francisco 49ers fans.
And all fans.
We have a Garoppolo video review coming up shortly. So for all you guys, good night and
You got it.
good sports.
We'll see you guys.